These are the clouds from the smoke. It would probably normally be sunny right now, or the sun's starting to come out. And you can see like the blue skies back there. And that's just like, this is clouds from the fire. You can smell it. And I'm not even like that close. I'm close, but not that close. But yeah, that's what we have. Oh my stars, you guys will not believe this. It is so ominous. So the fires are out that way. Look at this cloud, guys. And then decide. That blue sky is what the sky would probably look like this morning. It's not cold or anything like that, but these are just all the clouds right now. And then decide.
Okay, so I am in Beverly Hills right now, and I just got to church, and this is kind of what's going on and what things are looking like here. The skies are wild. The wind is blowing so crazy. We've been having these windstorms. That is up towards the hills in Beverly Hills. This is going east towards Pasadena, downtown LA, and all that. This is what the skyline is looking like here right now. It is so ominous. This is going west now towards the beach, towards Santa Monica and the Palisades and everything like that. So basically speaking, like this whole entire area is just looking absolutely insane. And I'm here at Good Shepherd going to Mass this morning. And when I turned around the bend, it was just absolutely wild what I saw.
I couldn't do another video on this channel without addressing the very real thing that's happening right now outside of my doors. Literally, the entire city of Los Angeles feels like it's on fire. And, I've been living in LA for over 10 years, and I have to say that we've never seen anything quite like this before. I mean, yeah, you move to California, you move to Southern California, you move to Los Angeles, there's going to be earthquakes, and you hear about the fires, and the fires are always like somewhere else, like out. They're out in the hills somewhere, or they're in less populated areas as far as city density is concerned. But it's very rare for us to have the fires so close to the middle of Los Angeles. And I'm seeing so much online misinformation and just the most debasing comments about what's going on here that I wanted to show you guys a side that you are not seeing on national news. We, of course, living in LA, we have the local news covering everything, and we know these communities, we know these areas, and we know the people that are there. So we're getting the real stories because it's so vast and so large, and there's so many people impacted and infected that someone. Every single one of us knows someone who has either lost everything or escaped with their lives, or maybe their house is still standing, or they had to evacuate and, maybe it was just a warning and they got back home and everything was okay. And so it's just mind-boggling. And what I notice is that it seems like the news media nationally is talking about all the celebrities and all this other stuff and showing you all of the destruction, but you're not seeing the real stories. You're not hearing how Los Angeles, Angelinos, we come together, and we're a community and we help each other. And when things are going downhill, when things are going rough, we're not standing back with our hands up and just kind of resigning. No, we gather together, we volunteer, we get all hands on deck. And it's so beautiful to see. And so I wanted to do two things with this video, is to give you a perspective of some of the stories that I saw online, well, not online, that I saw watching television, watching the local news, of people talking about their experiences and how they literally moved me, because it made me so proud of my city and the people, because everyone, even though they've lost everything, they're looking out for each other. They're worried about their families, they're worried about their neighbors. And the most beautiful thing are those people, and how many people, so many Angelinos have come on the news to share their stories. And the one thing that they had to say was that they give glory to God. Despite losing everything, they give glory to God. They haven't lost their faith. And it's just such a beautiful testament that, of course, the news media, they're not going to show you that. But I'm going to show you that here today. And we're going to talk about that. And I want to not only share their stories, but I also want to talk about how this is really impacting me as someone who was 3 miles away from the Sunset Fire over in Runyon Canyon and who had a real possibility of, do we have to evacuate? What's going to happen? And so there's a lesson in all of this for us, and there's a greater conversation, and that's what we're going to get into right here on That Black Catholic Chick. Before we get into the conversation, I want to welcome you to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Roxy Beckles, also known as That Black Catholic Chick. Here on this channel, we are passionate about sharing our Catholic faith and talking to reverts and converts who have stepped away from your faith for a couple of years, but you're hearing that knock on your heart of Jesus Christ calling you home, and you want to get more devout. You want to go deeper in your faith. You want a true relationship with Christ. You want to build your prayer life. You're in the right place. So that make sure, I want to thank you so much for being here. So make sure that you go ahead, that you subscribe to the channel right now, and that you hit the like button as well. Now, if you'd like to support the channel, I definitely invite you to join as a member. So I like to do a lot of stuff talking about just things to help you to expand your faith in a deeper, more personal way. So make sure that you go ahead and you support the channel by joining as a member. So let's go ahead and jump into this conversation because it's really somber, but I want to keep it uplifted as much as I can. The first thing that I do want to show you is this wonderful testimony of a woman who essentially lost everything in the fires. And it's crazy because she's actually the catalyst for me to want to get out here and talk about this. So I want to go ahead and introduce her to you because if anyone is a woman of faith who shows us what it is to trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding, it's this woman right here. Let's go ahead and listen to her story.
Good morning. Definitely a lot of heartbreaking stories. People who have lost their homes, lost all the memories that go along with it as well. I am here with Tatris and Aaron, who did lose their home in Pasadena. And, Tatris, you were telling me that when you evacuated, you weren't thinking your home was going to end up on fire.
No, I was not thinking that my home was going to catch on fire. I was thinking I was coming home to my wonderful place I just bought, just paid for. December 17th was my last payment. February 6th would have been my 13th year in the home. My first home ever. So, it's gone. I stood there and watched it go. And like I was telling another gentleman, I just have the peace of God, which passes understanding, because I can't understand it myself, that I'm not, I'm devastated. I am upset, but I'm at peace. And it's different. I'm a praiser and I'm a worshiper. And the home to me is things that can be replaced. We have our life, and that's the most important thing, because we could have not evacuated and stayed in that house. But when they said evacuate, we grabbed the minor things, what we have on, and we got out. Yeah. So we left. So
I am so moved by her, even just to hear this testimony of hers again just brings tears to my eyes, because guys, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So many of you have been seeing stories of celebrities. You've been seeing the celebrities who had houses in Malibu and houses in the Palisades. And let's get something really straight here, okay? I don't care if you're rich or poor, celebrity or not. You lost everything. And that is a devastating thing. And I think that to dismiss someone's struggle in this because they're a celebrity is wrong. Besides that, there were so many families, regular families that lived in the Palisades. I got an email from the West Side School of Ballet, which I have taken numerous ballet classes. It's one of the places I love to go to keep up with my dance technique. And they sent out an email that 25 families who send their kids there to ballet school, who live in the Palisades, have lost everything. These are not celebrities. These are regular, everyday Americans. Now, I think her name is Tatris, who was just speaking. She was in Altadena, California. Altadena and Pasadena are beautiful areas of California. You all know Pasadena when you watch the Rose Bowl every new year. That is in Pasadena, California. That is the area that was impacted. Those are red-blooded Americans, everyday people, middle-class people, working-class people. And there are some pockets of low-income people as well, immigrants, people who have lost everything in this fire and they have nothing at all. But the beautiful thing that I know about so many people who are in that area, faithful Christians, faithful Catholics, who get down on their knees and they pray and they thank God for their lives and they thank God for getting through this, even though they've lost everything. We're going to talk about that in a moment. I have a friend of mine who shared a story of someone that she knows, a colleague, a friend, whose family lost everything. The only thing they have are the clothes on their backs and a couple of things they were able to grab into the car. She went back to see her home. It's gone, completely gone. But you know what? She praises God at the end of the day. She praises God that despite everything, she has her life and her faith. These are the stories that are not being shown on your national news. But I am not done. Let's go ahead and take a look at this story. Now, the story that I have is actually quite sad, and I'm going to show you a mass from a Catholic church. And this is a Catholic church that was in Pacific Palisades, and realize that I said that it was in Pacific Palisades. This mass was celebrated 3 days ago on Tuesday or so. This is Friday. Perhaps it was done on Monday. It was celebrated on Monday. In any case, this is Corpus Christi Catholic Church in Pacific Palisades, California. This beautiful church that was full with people in this mass being celebrated by this parish and this community no longer exists. The church is gone, but the parish is still strong. The people are still strong. The church has been destroyed, burnt to the ground. And these are the real casualties. Now, I did hear that all of the priests got out. So we have that much to be thankful for. But imagine losing your parish. Imagine losing your church, your home, where you go to celebrate the Lord. Beautifully. And this is what I'm saying. Y'all are not seeing the full picture of what we are in Los Angeles, California. We are strong. We are here for each other.
I've always preached that the church is the people, not the building. So now we're going to get a chance to prove that the people are the church and not the building. So those of you from Corpus Christi who are here today, thank you so much for being here. And with God's help, we will come together as God's people and rebuild our community. As Father Sarah used to say, siempre adelante, et nunca atrás, forever forward and never back. So we ask the good Lord to bless us on our journey.
And this Sunday at St. Monica's Catholic Church in Santa Monica, California, Father Liam Kidney, their head pastor, will be celebrating the Mass there at that parish. That's how much we come together. That is how much we care about each other here in LA. Those are the stories they are not telling you, particularly when they're stories of faith. But we're not done yet. There's 2 stories that I've heard of where a house is burnt completely down to the floor, completely everything destroyed. And a statue of the Blessed Mother remained untouched, not destroyed, not even burnt, in 2 different houses in LA. One of those houses was a family who broke out in prayer singing Regina Caeli. And you guys, you've got to hear it. It's just amazing. La, la, la. Though they were impacted. This is really cool. Hallelujah. Let it hallelujah. We are ready. It's the word.
Hallelujah, America. Praise the Lord, 1660. Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah.
This is Los Angeles. These are Angelinos. These are the real faces of the people that have lost everything. They're not showing you that on the news because they can't show you hope. They got to keep you glued to the television thinking that we're all in this place of despair, but every single person in LA wants to rebuild. Here is a harrowing story that is really going to just warm your heart. And when I heard this, when I saw this, my heart literally broke because I just prayed immediately that this man who was pleading for help, that he would find it. And our community is so great. And the people who watch this, either online or wherever they saw this from around the country, stepped in to help this man. You've got to hear this story about a man who was on the verge of losing his home. And his home was probably one of the only homes left on the block standing. And he was begging for help, for someone to help to come and save his property. Here's what happened. This is nothing short of a miracle.
Haley Winslow joining us now from Altadena, and she's got a resident there with her. Haley.
He's a desperate resident. Yeah, he just ran up to me right after we were on a few minutes ago. He said, please, please, please help me. Chris, tell us what's going on.
Hi, I was told that my house burnt down. I drove up. I needed to see it. I wanted to get some clothes for my son. The entire neighborhood is burnt down, but somehow my house does not even have a scratch. There's no fire damage. I went in, but the house next to mine is still on fire. So I'm going around begging anybody to come put out that fire to protect my home.
Because there's no water.
There's no water pressure. I tried to turn on the water myself. I would have tried to put it out, but I have no water pressure, so I have no way of putting it out.
So you and your wife are just trying to go get bottled water?
Yeah, so my wife went to get bottled water. I'm going to meet her down the hill, and we're just going to try and throw bottled water on it, but I don't know if that's going to work.
You need a lot more than that. And so the firefighters said that you're basically not on the list right now?
They said they had a list of places to go. They're spread thin. I understand. I really understand.
Yeah, I know, but so you're just begging somebody, if anybody's got water and can help, you're about a mile down the road from here. Tell us your address.
I'm begging anyone to help put out this fire.
So he's got fire basically all around his house, and somehow there's no damage to his house yet, but it's only a matter of time, and there's literally no water to be able to fight it himself.
Correct.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Help. Please help. I mean, based on the size of the fire to the east of my house, it probably will take 5 to 10 minutes for a hose to put it out. That's it. 5 to 10 minutes, then you can go to the next place.
And Chris Anderson, just so you guys understand, his uncle's house burned down, his mother's house burned down today. He used to live in Pasadena. He moved to Altadena to be closer to them. And now this is what he's dealing with. This is what all of the residents are dealing with. Tell me about your family, what they're going through too, to wake up to their house gone.
I couldn't even tell my youngest son that the house was burnt down when they told me it burnt down, because he was already worried. He was already crying. When I told my oldest son that it was burnt down, he's 20 years old. He started crying. So to find out that my house is still standing, I immediately told them. They are so overjoyed. I would hate to have told them that, only to come back tomorrow and now it's burnt down because I couldn't get a little help.
What's this like for you and your neighbors? I can't imagine the stress level that you're...
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's terrifying. It is really terrifying. Even before They put out the evacuation notice for my neighborhood. My mom's had 3 strokes. I called my brother and his sister and my sister-in-law and told them to get my mom out of there. And I started packing even before they gave the official evacuation notice for my house. Because I've been through this. I've lived in Altadena before. I know with the wind and the fire, it was coming. It was just a matter of time.
Chris, what was that moment like when you had to pack and figure out what to bring? And you're looking around and you're, you knowing that your uncle and your mom's house already burned down. Take me to that moment when you're looking around.
You're terrified. You just assume you're about to lose everything. I mean, that's all you can think about is the house that your kids grew up in is about to burn down and your kids are scared and you just want to protect it for your kids, for your family. And that's what I was trying to do. And that's what I'm still trying to do because the house has no fire damage. I need someone just to put out that small fire next to it to make sure it stays that way.
And again, the address is just about a mile away from here on Christmas Tree Lane in Alameda and Santa Rosa. And you're obviously familiar with this area. What does this neighborhood mean to you?
Oh, this neighborhood means a lot. My uncle used to own a house right at the end of Christmas Tree Lane on the west side before he moved up to the house that burned down, unfortunately, on Loma Alta Drive last night.
It's a historical landmark. It's unbelievable. I mean, my stomach's in knots. I can't imagine how you're feeling.
It's horrible. I hope I can get some help. To know that my house is standing and then I might lose it because I just couldn't get help. That will even be more painful than it being gone last night.
So I just wanted to just take a pause there for a moment, simply because it's just so gut-wrenching. These are the people that are losing their homes. These are the people that are losing everything. It's not just about the celebrities, and it's not about the politics. Listen, not all of us voted for these people that are in office. I know I surely didn't. And maybe this is a huge lesson for us as Angelenos to take a serious look at who we have in the mayor's seat, and even, of course, who we have in our governor's seat, who we have in the Senate. People that obviously don't have the best interests of the state and of our cities at heart. But that's not a conversation for right now. Right now, what we see are people with these stories that every single one of us can relate to. But I don't want to leave you hanging, because I want to show a positive and different side to what's going on, and what's going on multiple times in our community. So we met Chris Anderson, and now I want to share with you some amazing news about what happened to Chris Anderson and his home.
Haley Winslow, you're on scene. Where are you and what's behind you?
Marla, we're on Sacramento Street right now. We've been here all day. A lot of stuff that we've been wanting to show you, but our signal is horrendous here. But how about some good news today? I think we could use a little bit of that, even just a tiny silver lining. We introduced you to a guy at about 2 p.m. today, Chris Anderson, and thanks to you guys in the public, all over the country. This guy was out of water, of course. He and his wife going to the store to get bottled water to throw on their house. He lost his uncle's house, his mother's house. There was fire literally all around his house, and he was desperate for somebody to come help him. The community stepped up, and he right now has a home still tonight because of you. So here's what he had to say earlier.
So we saw this part just a moment ago, and again, I'm just so elated at how just everyone mobilized. These are the stories that you may not be hearing. And I want to go ahead and just skip back over to the end of this so she can kind of finish off.
So people did step up and help literally all over the country. People were dropping off, giving them tips, and then coming to his house and dropping off cases of water. And with everybody's help, they were able to save his house. Of course, there's still fire all around it, so he's hoping that it stays that way. Poor guy, I mean, he was literally crying, just desperate. So thank you to everybody out there who stepped up and helped him.
Now, I don't know what happened in the aftermath of all of that, of course. Hopefully, they've been able to keep, just the house safe. But again, people stepping up to the plate and helping each other, average Americans, not celebrities and not some whatever people are saying. They're saying the most ugly and disgusting things online. These are the people that I know live in this city. These are Angelinos, this is the heart of what we are and who we are.
We need to be here for them. All types of people. The work the Red Cross is doing in the shelters, the work organizations like ours, we do with food and water. Sends a message of we see you. You're going through pain, but we're not going to let you go through that pain alone.
The heartache and the pain that we have witnessed firsthand is indescribable. It has brought me to tears at times. So we just want to do the best that we can to support each other and, nourishing each other with food and sustenance, and just that human community and connection really makes a difference.
I see the community mobilizing. I see people making phone calls. I see people coming here and saying, how can I volunteer? I think it's really important for us to understand that, what has happened, this tragedy, and continues to happen, it can happen anywhere and to anyone.
In the worst moments of humanity, the best of humanity always shows up.
Again, story after story after story after story of how we are not going down without a fight. But here's the truth. Not everyone is experiencing this, and it would be remiss for me to be just dismissive of people who are struggling right now and who have lost everything and who feel like they maybe there is no hope. And I think that when we start talking about the lesson that I feel like we should all take away from this, it's going to be about what hope versus optimism is and joy is, and how that is manifested by way of our faith, and how times like this is what really truly tests us. But there is a family that my heart totally goes out to, because of course they went back to see their homes, and in an instant everything was lost. But one of the things I noticed about this particular family is that they were so focused on their things. All of them got out safely. They have the opportunity to rebuild and to go, they're going to be going to another state, as you see that they'll be talking about in this clip. But I couldn't help to notice that for them, it was a loss of the things. And detachment in the spiritual journey, I think, is so important, and a lesson that I feel like I have learned so much in the last year, particularly, that so many of us need to learn. But I want to bring their voice into this as well, because again, not everything is a bed of roses. Not everyone is having this strength of faith and leaning on Christ to get them through this hard time. So let's take a look at that.
Fair Oaks in Altadena, and this is a friend of mine and her family. Daisy, is coming here for the first time. Her kids were not really grasping the concept of losing their house, and they insisted, your older son insisted that he wanted to see all of this, right?
He wanted to see his home. He wanted to come back and check his home. He was, we were watching the fire from our window, so he wanted to also see his school and make sure that everything was there. But he doesn't understand that we lost our home. He was upset. He was crying, but now it's like.
And now what do you think is, as you watch them look at this devastation?
It gives me comfort to see they're innocent, how they just don't understand the concept of pain, of losing things. I thought they were going to take this a little bit harder and difficult, but they, to me, it's sad to see everything that we work for, everything that we built here, to just be gone in hours.
We didn't realize that our house was gonna burn like this, and a lot of stuff that we left in our house and it's burned, and we had a 3D printer and it was so special to me, and it's gonna make me a little sad, but I don't know why, but this is what happened to our house. And a lot of stuff that I love is gone. That's my dad's bicycle right there. Mm-hmm. And my mom's bicycle is here somewhere, and now everything is broken, and it's all lost its color and stuff. And these are the only things I have. This, and this.
Yeah.
That was our chimney where Santa comes, and now it's gone. Now we can't get presents here anymore. We have to replace this house and have a different house.
We already prepped them to understand that they're going to go to Florida, that we don't have a home. So maybe that's why they're taking things so calm. But to me, it's just not, I don't have any comfort now, knowing that everything that we built and everything that we had is just gone. We didn't grab nothing. I just grabbed one luggage for all of us, for us four. So I thought we were just going to be able to come back. You just think that it was just going to burn and
where there's nothing.
Yeah.
Is this your first time seeing it, or did you come?
No, I came up yesterday, so I got the major impact yesterday, but it's just devastating. Everything we worked for.
How long have you guys lived here?
That's 3.5 years, I think, almost 4 years now.
And in that time period, I know, in order to make a home, a house that you just move into, a home, what kinds of things did you do?
Well, we've been doing a lot. When we bought the house, it was kind of a fixer-upper. We've done a lot of electrical work. We've done plumbing work. We've replaced sewer lines. We've done a lot just to make it more comfortable.
We just did the window. We
replaced all the windows.
About a month ago. We owe the AC system too. That was for quite of an expense to do all the AC, do all the, fireproof windows. We know that obviously exists, nothing fireproof.
No.
This is part of your car.
That's my license plate, what's left of it, yeah.
So thank you both for talking with me and letting us see.
I wanted to finish off with just that last story and that last family. And, it's heartbreaking to see that they've lost everything. And that, again, as they said, everything that they've worked for is gone. But I couldn't help to notice, and maybe it's this thing that since I've become more devout in my faith and really have leaned on God on everything, that I couldn't help to notice that they were so attached to these objects that we cannot take with us. These things, they kept saying, are things, these objects, these attachments that we have to things that don't lend to our salvation, that sure, they lend to our comfort and our lifestyles and our status and all these things. But at the end of the day, none of it matters because you can lose it in an instant. But you know what matters? Your life. You know what matters? Your family. What matters is the opportunity to have breath in your nostrils and in your lungs to go forth and live a life of Christ. And a lot of people are going to say, I know what you're going to say. I know. Why would God let something like this happen? That's the difference, guys, between God's permissive will and his perfect will. Now, did he rain down fire on Los Angeles because this is Sodom and Gomorrah and whatever else they're saying online? I don't know. I don't think so. Because not everyone who suffered, as you can see, were people who were out there who would deserve anything like that. So I could not say that this is God's wrath on Los Angeles. Why just LA? I mean, he could just fire up the whole world. Why don't he? I mean, there's places worse out there than there are here, really, when you think about it. But things happen. And the one thing that we know in our faith is that life isn't always going to be perfect. We have a Savior who showed us the way, that the way is of the cross, that the way can be of suffering, and the way could be scary, the way could be dangerous, and the way could be death in so many ways. And in this case, it's death of the ego, death of our attachments to the things that do not lead us to anywhere that get closer to him. And I think that is such an obstacle for so many people to overcome, particularly when you're going into this deeper faith life, when you're turning a new leaf over, when you've lived a worldly life, we're collecting possessions and collecting clothes and shoes and bags and this and that and cars and money and this. When you come from a life where that matters, that is the center of your identity, when you lose it all, you lose who you are, you lose everything, and you don't have a grip on the fact of saying, thank you for me being able to be alive to rebuild this. And yeah, it might be easier to say on the other side of the fence. It may be easier to say as someone who has not had to evacuate my home or lose everything. But I'll tell you what, I could walk away from every single thing that's in this place right now. I could leave it all behind. But because I have him and his grace and his love, I'll still be okay. And that's the level of detachment you have to have. The Lord says to us, sell everything that you have, pick up your cross and come and follow me. And for so many of us who are observing this, and for even those who are going through this may be their wake-up call. They say that God's permissive will allows things to happen, even things that we do not want. Remember, our Lord prayed 3 times in the garden for the cup to pass him so that way he does not die, that he would not be put to death. He prayed 3 times not to die. But what did he say? If it is your will, Father, let it be done according to your word. And he accepted his fate. And he died on that cross. And we're called to do the same in so many ways. This tragedy and what's going on is that opportunity to sell everything you have, to pick up your cross and come and follow me. But for those of you who are not going through this, you're not in Los Angeles, you're not here, you haven't gone through, what are you going through in your life right now that's your greatest trial? What is your greatest tribulation right now? Pick up that cross and follow him. Sometimes getting knocked on your back is the thing that you need to go deeper in faith. You guys saw here on this channel when I had my own personal purgation, my own dark night of the soul. I didn't run away from my faith. What I did is I stood fast. I cemented myself in the ground. I stayed prayed up. I continued going to mass. I continued to pray my rosary. I continued to go to confession. I continued to do all of the things that grow my relationship with Christ. And I came out even stronger on the other end. And those who have the wherewithal to do that in this tragedy, they're going to come out even better than they were before. And the last thing I want to talk about is this idea of hope. You know, hope is a virtue. It's one of the 3 theological virtues: faith, hope, and charity. And it's beautiful because you see those 3 virtues showing up in every single one of the stories I shared today. You saw the faith of people not letting this shake them and calling upon God. You saw the charity of people in this area and outside of Los Angeles stepping up to help a stranger in need and distress. And third is the hope. And the first story, the first woman that I showed you, is such a great example of hope. And the Catholic family that was singing Regina Coeli, perfect example of hope. Because optimism, in many respects, is a positive thing, but it really just looks at the positive things. It doesn't always account for when you're going to fall, when you're going to stumble, or even like thinking that that's supposed to be a part of the process. Optimism relies so much more on the self, but true hope as a virtue relies on the power of God and the power of true faith, knowing that he will always provide, that he, no matter what happens, he will be there. He will provide. He will be by your side, and that the outcome coming will be in your best interest through his grace. Hope allows you to be in a place where you are going to stumble and fall, but you know that you will be redeemed at the end, particularly if you go deeper in your faith. Joy, having true joy. And this was something that blew my mind. Joy, we talked about this in the channel. Make sure you check out that video that I have. Joy is not this crazy ecstatic happiness. No, true joy is being able to be content and peaceful and thankful and have gratitude, even when you face your toughest moments in life. That's true joy, peace, contentment, and cheerfulness, even in the face of difficulty. That can only come through grace. There's so much to unpack in all of this. As I sit here doing this video, the fires are still raging. Right now, they're calling for evacuations in Encino, California, in Brentwood. There's a huge cloud coming over the mountains right now that's spreading all over West Los Angeles and coming down towards my area as well pretty soon. And it's scary, but I'm so thankful that I'm able to actually sit here and transmit this message to you, because if you're listening to this right now, God wanted you to hear this. If you're listening to my voice, this is the message that he wants to put in your heart. So heed this message and tell me your thoughts below. What do you find inspiring about this whole thing? Have you heard these stories? Do you live in another state? Are you only hearing one side of the news, or are you hearing about the absolute heroism of the people of Los Angeles, California? I would love to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and post it below. Make sure that you check out this video right over here, because I want to go ahead into this conversation about joy and what that truly means and how that shows up in your faith life. And I did a whole video on that. So go ahead and check it out. I'll see you over there.